Good evening. Graham Little, me Peter Pope, www.fightpharmacorruption.com. Pretty sad day for a lot of us that I have to announce that I've got to postpone the Summit Against Corruption due to take place at the Melbourne Town Hall on Remembrance Day, 11th of November. I could put a lot of spin on it. Hopefully there'll be a happy ending at the end. But the reality is that I was a long way short of covering the number of tickets necessary to fulfil the contractual obligations that I have to the conveners or the contractors at the Melbourne Town Hall. That's the Epicure Group, part of the Spotless, due to make payment to them by the end of the week. So I've pulled the plug on it earlier to ensure that those that were thinking of making commitments to hold off. Hopefully we'll be able to restage it next year. I'm really sorry to Brandy Vaughan particularly. I know she had her heart set on coming to Australia, and I think she would have been amazing, but unfortunately for a lot of different reasons we haven't been able to, or I haven't been able to attract enough support. Certainly get a lot of support on Facebook Live, and we've had some quite amazing things happen in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but it hasn't generated enough interest in the ticket selling. Perhaps I could have let a lot more names out that are speaking, but I did want to protect those other courageous people that have agreed to speak. I'm sorry that I've let them down in a way, but I know how the forces combine at these type of events to intimidate people from staging these events. So I was cautious, perhaps too cautious, in protecting some of you. But anyway, that's the judgment call I made. The people that have already bought tickets, those tickets are being held in trust, the money, by Eventbrite, so that's part of their contractual conditions, so they will all be refunded in full after the designated date of the event. So I think it's probably 3 or 4 days after the 11th. So I'll make sure that those refunds happen as quickly as Eventbrite can do it. Some of you made significant investments in time to come and made airline bookings and also accommodation, so I'm really sorry to you making that big effort, and there are some suggestions that some of us will meet on that day, that those that are flying, or perhaps the next day, so we'll be in touch with those people that have made the effort to book tickets in advance. The other thing is looking at the positives. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, staging an event at the Melbourne Town Hall, bringing out international speakers, potential audience of 2,000, was a brave and bold attempt. Maybe I set the bar way too high. I did intend for this event to be a serious event on Remembrance Day, make a difference to the political scene, put those that are behind the political forces that are denying those in the pro-choice group any say, to put them on the back foot, to make them come in and be accountable, come and make them see the whites of the eyes of all these people that have been discriminated against day by day. I think the reality is we've seen enormous amounts of fear the minute I announced this event. Not only all the natural practitioners that know me pretty well, I can understand their fear very much, because they are being persecuted behind closed doors. I mean, all the nurses are being hunted out for their comments on social media. There's enormous fear for those that are either pro-choice parents or natural practitioners, or indeed the chiropractic movement, and not so much the Chinese medicine yet. They haven't copped it completely. That's coming soon, guys. And then, of course, we've seen a lot of fear from the government. So, we could say it is a disappointment that I can't stage the event on this occasion, but we do think Minister Hennessy panicked. She concocted those tweets that we know did not actually happen. Definitely my sources that are pretty good, and Grant MacArthur from the Herald Sun, I did meet for an hour on Tuesday, still supports his story, and I hope we get together again, Grant, and go through them all again. But you know, our sources are saying that 10 of the 14 were definitely taken from closed Facebook groups, or in fact secret groups. So it just shows why this intimidation, the extent to which the government's prepared to go to intimidate. You may think that it's a mild success that the summit is not taking place, but I'm sure it'll galvanise forces for future attempts to get this discrimination addressed and to have a level playing field in health, and to get back to the basic freedoms we thought the lucky country was all about. So Minister Hennessy's cooked herself, in my opinion. There's been further press releases, I believe, released today. I did lodge a corruption complaint to the Corruption Commission. I'm still waiting for a phone call, guys, but I guess you did get it. And that also included Reasonable Hank, who was party to those particular social media comments that have been put into the video that Minister Hennessy then presented, and was prepared by the Herald Sun, prying into private social media groups. So it's a sad day when politics has got to that. It's a sad day when we have adult vaccination looming, that we can't address the safety risks of vaccination, when clearly in the US it's always been recognised that vaccines have an unavoidable safety risk. So at some point Minister Hennessy will be held to account. Whether it's the Corruption Commission, I don't know. She used to be the Deputy Commissioner, so no doubt she's got some friends there. I haven't gone through all the names there, but please take this seriously, Corruption Commissioners. This is not fair. It's not acceptable in a democracy. And if this minister gets away with this type of behaviour, then what hope have we got? I mean, we've got no hope. And then if you think you're going to get adult vaccination through like the US is planning by 2020, that's a very major problem for a lot of people, that if they're going to be tied in, as we suspect, to various social welfare, or indeed if they're going to be tied into passports, as we hear, and potentially driver's licences and perhaps health insurance. So the game's not over, the game's just starting. I was going to read Thomas Edison and see how many times he tried to create the light bulb, so I haven't turned the light bulb on in the town hall yet, but he had a few tries, so we've got a bit of time perhaps before 2020 to save Australians from adult vaccination. The poor children that are getting no choice through their parents, let's hope that we can get some sanity into that as well, and we get this mantra dismantled that all vaccines are safe and effective. They definitely are not, and the manufacturer's own country doesn't recognise that, and neither do the manufacturers, so why are politicians in Australia saying that? So yeah, sad day for me, sad day for a lot of people that we're not having this summit. I've been working around the clock for 4 months, but you've got to be realistic and pull your head in when things are not going exactly according to plan. But I had no idea we would have caught Minister Hennessy and Reasonable Hank and have them in at a corruption commission. So had maybe we not staged such an audacious first event, maybe we wouldn't have had this situation with the minister. So let's keep the pressure up. Hopefully Daniel Andrews, the Premier of Victoria, will see the light, and we'll get a reasonable health minister that is prepared to talk to the public, talk to vaccinating mothers that know what's going on, and we start having a sensible way of treating people with respect. So that's all I've got to say tonight. Luckily, out of the blue, an old friend rang me about half an hour ago just in town, so we're going to go out for dinner. So I was going to be down in the dumps, but hopefully that won't be the case now. So bye for now, and we'll be living to fight another day. All the best to all of you. Bye now.